there, this is Sherry Hayes with MomDelights.com. I'm the mom of 15, been homeschooling for 30 years, and today I'm going to show you how you can turn any historical novel into a language arts book. It'll be great fun. So to begin with, if you know me, I love the McGuffey readers, and I love to use that for my language arts program. And what I like to do is I like to take a historical novel and I like to find vocabulary words that will help them with spelling and usage and all that kind of thing. And then I also like to find some copywork in that novel. And I also like to have a place for a narration and some drawings or illustrations of some sort. Now I've created PDFs to go along with this, but I'm going to show you specifics of how I have actually used this with my own children. Okay, so here is something I printed out from Heritage History. These are historical novels by James Otis, and if you have a chance to have your kids use these to learn about our American history, they are amazing. They are jam-packed with all kinds of information about how people lived during those times and the different events that happened, but they're told from the perspective of a story, which makes them much more interesting than a dry history book. And this one in particular, it's called Ruth of Boston by James Otis. And I used clip art, etc., and I took a border, and then I used Microsoft Publisher, and I created a little cover for it and a back for it. And then I printed these out. Heritage History offers these in PDF form, and they're also for free. You can find them on Gutenberg and the Gutenberg Project, and also on Google Books. They're in lots of places. And but I did this on Heritage History. I like how they have it set up to where you can have 2 pages on one, and it's in PDF form, and so it's kind of like a way to save paper, and it doesn't take a lot of work. What I did with this in particular is that I printed it out, and then it was thin enough to where I just stapled it, and then I covered it with tape. But sometimes what I'll do is I'll take my 3-hole punch and I'll punch it 3 times, then I'll go back and punch it another 2 times, and then I will sew it with like some really thick thread or dental floss, and then I'll tape it, and sometimes I don't even tape it. But anyway, that's how I did this one. And so I stapled it. But anyway, so I take this and I go through it, and I have split this up into 4 different sections. And I've taken the table of contents. Of course, since I printed this out myself, I feel free to use a highlighter. But you might have books that you own that are historical novels, and you could still use a highlighter at the beginning. And I have highlighted the different chapters. I'm sorry, they're not really in chapters. They're like in little snippets. I'll show you. So I've split them up pretty much equally, and I've used a different color highlighter for each portion so that it's easy for the reader to differentiate which part is which. Now I've taken the first part of this book, if you'll see, I assigned this as reading. And then I went through that first part of the book, and I did this to myself. On each page I highlighted 1 word on each page spread, I should say. 1 word on each page spread, and I went through the whole book and I did that. And then for each section that I had highlighted, then I went through and I found a paragraph that I thought was important or interesting, and I highlighted that paragraph, as you can see. And so there's 1 word per page, and there are 4 paragraphs in this book that I have highlighted. Now I'm going to show you what I did with that. I created these sheets a while back, but I kind of reformed them. And I have these notebooking pages that I created for my children to use. This is the place where they are going to write the words that they find on each page. They're going to write them here. Then I have a place where they take these words and they compose original sentences with those words. Here's a place that says, this is like a little illustration area. And so that was my vocabulary list, my spelling list, whatever you want to call it. And then here is the place where they did their copy work of the paragraph. And here is a place for a narration. It's on the very first page. Here's a place. This child is 15 and an amazing artist, so don't be intimidated. I have the other type too. But she went, this is about Calvert of Maryland. And so she took the main character as she saw him to be, and she drew him and she colored and did a background. And then these are other characters that were introduced in the first chapter, the first, I guess, part of the book. Here's a description of the main character and the characters. Here's a narration of what happened in this chapter. Here's a little illustration she put as part of the book. Here's her vocabulary words, as I showed you. Here's the sentences. Here's the copywork. And then at the bottom, I have, did you like this one, yes or no, and why or why not? So I put that there just for fun for them. So this is from the perspective of a 15-year-old. And I will show you another perspective. This is the daughter that she likes to draw too, but she doesn't really feel competent sometimes to do certain things. So what we did is I used the snipping tool that's with Windows, and I went through the PDF of the book, and I actually snipped the illustrations that she desired, and we put them on a page. I use Microsoft Publisher. You could use Microsoft Word or some open source document editor. And I tried to size them how they would fit, and I printed them out, and then she cut and pasted those in. So that made her feel a little more confident, and she didn't feel as frustrated. This is her narration. She's kind of new to written narrations. We've been doing a lot of oral narrations and drawn narrations mostly, so this is a stretch for her a little bit, but she's doing pretty good. And here are her words. She's 10, by the way. Here are her words, and there's a little bit of corrections, and here's her sentences, and here is her copywork. And this is after it was corrected, and it's whether or not she liked the book, and at the bottom. So that was from a 10-year-old. Now from my 12-year-old, she picked these pages out for me to show to you, and here's her narration. This is the second page. For the second part, we don't have the main character on this page. We have like something else they want to illustrate. She picked 2 other characters to put here. Here's a description and why they're important. Here she drew a wild goose, and here's her words, her sentences, and her copywork. And she said yes, she likes this book because it's well done. This is like she loves this kind of stuff. So she was really happy we're doing this. So that's just a way that you can do this with any book, any historical novel that you like. I mean, sometimes I don't like to do it with like The Witch of Blackbird Pond or something like that. Something because the book has such a neat message to it that you don't want to wreck it by taking and dissecting it like this, because it kind of ruins the literature part for your child, and that's not what you want to do. What you're trying to do is have them learn about history and have them do some vocabulary. It's kind of like what we've done while we're doing this is that we're not doing McGuffies this week. We're just doing this. And that way we're covering history and everything else we need to do. We're still moving forward in language arts without having to really pile it on them and have them do lots of reading and lots of McGuffies and just everything. I don't like to really overburden my kids every day so that they hate learning. School is ugh, which they say that sometimes anyway. But so what I do is try to combine those 2 things, and it's very easy to do. When I started to read Ruth Beecheck's ideas on how to take regular literature and use it like this, it would be so mind-boggling how I could do this with so many children. And for a while I was actually going through and I would try to either type out a paragraph or copy it on the board or something, and that was so labor intensive for me. This way all I have to do is highlight, and they can find the words and they can do the copywork themselves. Now for little kids, of course, you're going to really want to shorten this up. And I have the PDF that I'm going to offer you that you could find on my website, momdelights.com, and you don't have to subscribe or anything. It's just going to be there for you to use. If you go there are some with really a lot wider lines so that there's not a lot of intimidation. When you're first starting this stuff out, kids can get so freaked if they see 2 pages of all this writing, and I understand that. And it's really hard for you to be the taskmaster to make them do that. So you try to simplify it where you can, such as using the snipping tool and getting the pictures so they don't have to draw them. Some kids would rather draw them, and hey, go for it. But sometimes, it's just a lot of work. That's all they see it is work, work, work. So any way you can minimize that or make it smaller. Also, if you have a little child and they're good at reading, but they're not so good at writing, you could have them read, or you could read aloud to them the chapter, and you could write the narration part in for them, and just give them like maybe just one sentence to copy, and maybe only pick like 3 or 4 words to copy. Make it simple for them, and then you could use it, and then they could be doing the same thing as their siblings, but just on a lower level. Here's the cool thing about these books too. If you use something like on Heritage History or a free Google book or something else, and you print it out, then you can afford to do multiple copies if you want to. And you could be reading aloud to one set of kids, and the other ones you just hand them the book and say, go read this and do this assignment. And that way everybody's doing something at their own level, but the slow ones don't feel that it's going too fast, and the fast ones don't feel like they're being slowed down and getting bored. And that way you can do many levels at the same time. Hey, it's all about working yourself out of a job. No, but anyway, we want to have an excellence, but we don't want to do it to where we're so, our energy is so spent that we can't keep 2 thoughts together. Yeah, so I hope you like this. I hope it helps you. One more tool under your belt. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.